With the rise of intermittent fasting, the age-old statement that breakfast is the most important meal of the day has come into question. But what does the science actually say? Let's dive in. People have been saying that breakfast is the most important meal of the day for decades, but where does this idea actually come from? So there have been multiple very rigorous scientific studies, and they showed that eating breakfast is very strongly correlated with being lean. And this has held true even when you test it with a diverse amount of populations throughout the world. But correlation does not equal causation. So recently, one group decided to look further into this idea and ask the question, is breakfast really the most important meal of the day? And they posted their results in a very well-written article in the Proceedings of the Nutrition Society. What they did was they did a study where they took about 70 individuals, and these individuals were either lean or they were obese prior to starting the study. They then divided both of those groups into two more groups, where one group was going to eat breakfast, meaning that they needed to consume about 700 calories before 11 a.m. And in the second group, they were not allowed to eat any calories until about midday. And this study lasted for about 6 weeks. So the results were really interesting. What they showed was that in these two different groups, so we have the lean individuals and we have the obese individuals. The lean individuals that skipped breakfast, they lost a significant amount of weight, meaning that they did not compensate by skipping breakfast by eating a bunch more calories throughout the day. So they lost a significant amount of weight in the form of body fat. Now, those lean individuals that did eat breakfast, they did not gain weight despite eating a fairly large breakfast. So 700 calories before 11 a.m. could be considered a very large breakfast. And so even though they were eating this large breakfast, they did not gain any weight. Now when we look at the other group, the obese individuals that did skip breakfast, they showed the greatest compensation following breakfast. So these people actually gained weight despite cutting out any calories until midday. And so what that means is that throughout the rest of the day, they ended up eating more calories than they normally would, which resulted in them actually gaining weight. And when you look at the obese individuals that did eat breakfast, they actually gained even more weight. So these individuals did not take into account that they were eating a larger breakfast, and so they didn't either expend more energy throughout the day or reduce their calories for the rest of the day because they were eating this large breakfast. And they summarized their findings, and they stated that whether fed or fasted in the mornings, the lean individuals are going to favor a more negative energy balance, whereas the obese individuals, whether they skip breakfast or if they eat a breakfast, they are going to favor a more positive net energy balance, which would make them gain weight. So is breakfast really the most important meal of the day? And does skipping breakfast make you lose weight? Well, no. What matters is, what does your entire day look like? What is your total daily caloric intake? What does that look like? So fasting is just a tool. Whether you're doing intermittent fasting or time-restricted eating, it is just a tool. There are multiple scientific studies, and they show that if you skip breakfast, you are going to be more likely to have a lower total daily caloric intake because you're cutting out an entire meal. But you can easily compensate for that throughout the rest of the day and actually end up gaining weight. So if you skip breakfast, but then you're like, oh, I skipped breakfast, so that means that I can have this extra donut after lunch, and I can have this snack in between lunch and dinner, and I can eat dessert because, oh, I didn't eat breakfast this morning, well, then you are going to probably push your total daily calories above what it would have been had you just eaten breakfast. So you need to, whether you choose to eat breakfast or not eat breakfast, that is a decision on how it just fits into your lifestyle. How do you respond? Me personally, I don't generally eat any breakfast. I just drink coffee, and then I don't eat until about noon or sometimes even 1 o'clock, and I do just fine with that. My brain continues to work just fine. I seem to be very able to deal with being in a fasted state. But some people don't do very well with that. So if you're one of those people, there is no added benefit to trying to make yourself suffer and cutting out breakfast, because it's not necessarily going to make you lose weight. You could eat a medium to large size breakfast and just make sure to monitor the rest of your calories the rest of the day, and you could still continue to lose weight without having to put yourself in that fasted state and get brain fog and different things like that. So try and think of intermittent fasting as a tool. What matters is, what is your total daily caloric intake? If fasting fits into your life and it makes it easier for you to get things done in the morning because you don't have to take that time to make breakfast, then great, that's awesome. Or if you do need to eat breakfast, that's fine too. Just make sure that you're monitoring what does your total daily caloric intake look like, and that is what is going to impact whether you are losing weight or gaining weight. So I hope that this has been helpful. If you guys have any questions, please make sure to leave them in the comments below. I'd be more than happy to help out. Make sure that you are subscribing, make sure you're following so you don't miss out on any more of this great content. So again, this is Floyd Meyer reminding you to eat better so that you can do more.